This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
This is a sham.
No.
Nope.
Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. Today is a very important day. First of all, we're here. You're watching. That's great. But it's also World Mental Health Day. And it is a day to raise awareness, to fight against the social stigma against people with mental health issues. So let's just get real here, because that's sort of what we do on the show. The pandemic has had some very real and serious effects on people. Depression, substance abuse, suicide are all way up, not just for adults, but also for youth. And get this, over half of adults with mental illness in this country do not receive any treatment whatsoever. That is 27 million people living with an untreated disease. Experts say today is just a great opportunity to take stock of your own mental well-being and to let people know it's okay to ask for help. I was shocked by the over half of adults do not receive treatment. I've been very open. I've gone through very bad depressions, very bad anxiety attacks. I live with generalized anxiety. It's the pits, and I fight every day. It's the pits, and I'll say it again, I fight every day. And I wish you the same. What do you guys feel about the stigma around mental health?
I think it's changing.
I do too.
Right? I definitely think it's changing because it's something that you could work on and get better. I'm no by any means clinical or anything like that, but I've gone through my ups and downs. I've been depressed of what I was making in my life, where I was at points in my life, and I did have like some anxiety, you know what I mean? Because I didn't think I was living up to my full potential. And this was years ago, and I had to work on that, right? I had to work on that to get better, but the thing is, you can get better. You have to address it, and I always talk about facing yourself in the mirror. Put onus on yourself and say, why is this going wrong? Maybe it's some of the choices that I'm making in my life. Maybe it's because I'm spending too much time at the bar. Maybe whatever it may be, I'm not putting enough towards my craft. You got to take accountability. In some cases, not everybody, you need a therapist, but you could get through it. And I think now we're looking at that and saying, listen, we've all been there. We've been to the bottom, we've been to the top, and everywhere in between. You could get some help and it's going to get better.
I agree. What do you think, Erica? I think things have progressed. Like, I'm openly talking about therapy and medication and anxiety attacks on daytime TV, and that people are okay with that.
Yeah, you know, I grew up in a household where I was told that we don't talk to therapists. Like, you don't talk about your problems. You don't get like help for things that are happening in your head. I also want to just say, because what Jeff was saying, I think that there are mental health issues that are very much biological, like your brain is wired in a certain way. Maybe there's some kind of chemical
there's an imbalance. Sure.
But then I also think that there's environmental, like it's based on the circumstances of what's happening in your life. And I think that when we aren't clear, and I'm not a doctor, but I think that sometimes people will hear like, well, you know, oh, like make sure that you're making better choices. And it's like, but my brain won't do that.
Yeah, there's
a
difference.
I'm trying to do that. So I think when we start to be a little bit more specific about it, you know, you said there have been seasons in your life. To me, that's like circumstantial. It's environmental. Right. Where other people, it's like you can't have those same conversations. So I think the more conversations that we have, the more that we can delve into it. So someone can be like, hey, that person who looks like me, is similar to me, is saying that they are experiencing something that I'm experiencing. Maybe I don't have the vocabulary to really understand what this is, but at least I'm getting a path to feeling better.
Right.
Do you think social media, and I want to get on to Kanye, but has anything to do with this? Because 27 million people, I think you said.
Without getting any treatment.
Without getting any treatment. So how many of that total, right? Like, how depressing, and not to make light of this, was the Great Depression? Yeah. It was called the Great Depression. But people still had some sort of pride, I feel like. I didn't live through that. Maybe someone else could fill me in on that. But how much is social media affecting today's children, and today, even me, in today's world?
And to be honest, I came up without it. And I had anxiety, and then it was on it, and I have to imagine it has an enormous amount to do with it. An enormous amount to do with the overwhelmingly rise of suicidal ideation in adults, in youth.
Teenage girls.
Teenage girls. It cannot be a coincidence that this is occurring at the same time. It's a causation, I'm saying.
I think it might be a causation, but it's also the reason why we know about it. Like, there was no way for people to be open and find community with anyone other than the people people who were in their homes or in their own specific communities.
Yeah, you couldn't find anyone.
I think there's a transparency factor. So it's like, for as much as social media can be causing stress and anxiety, it's also giving a lot of people the language in the community to say, hey, this affects me too.
Yeah.
Like, I think about it when we talk about like trafficking and like, child predators. Everyone's always like, do you think there are more child predators now, or are we just more aware of it now?
Yeah.
Like the information is out there for us.
Right.
But I certainly appreciate people being transparent with their testimony to the point of 27 million people not even getting treatment. I would wonder how many of those people even know that that's what they're suffering from.
They even know the name of what to call it.
Right.
All right, we're going to put this back on the screen again. I want you to take a picture of this. These are some mental health resources that you can get to. Today is the day I just ask you to fight for your right to get a therapy, to get the right medication, to make a call or ask someone to do it for you. Today's that day. Speaking of mental health, Kanye's friends are reportedly worried he's in the middle of a serious mental health breakdown. His Instagram and Twitter accounts were both locked over the weekend after he posted fully anti-Semitic content. Here's Kanye's very offensive tweet saying, quote, "I'm a bit sleep tonight, but when I wake up, I'm going DEF CON 3 on Jewish people. The funny thing is I actually can't be anti-Semitic because black people are actually Jewish too." As you can imagine, Kanye's tweets and posts got a big reaction. Jamie Lee Curtis tweeted, "Words matter. A threat to Jewish people ended once in a genocide. Your words hurt and incite violence. You are a father. Please stop." And Sarah Silverman, who is Jewish, tweeted, "Kanye threatened the Jews yesterday on Twitter, and it's not even trending. Why do mostly only Jews speak up against Jewish hate? The silence is so loud." So, what do you think about Kanye's post? Do you think a mental health crisis is causing his erratic behavior? Of course, we are not clinicians, so this is all speculation. I find him a troll at this point. I find him a troll. I want him gone. I'm blaming the mental health. That could be completely fair. That doesn't make you anti-Semitic. It doesn't make you racist. It doesn't give you the right. He needs boundaries. He should be kicked off. And I say that as a Jewish woman who feels that in my grandmother's time, they were herded in trains to be executed.
Right.
It's playing with fire, and he doesn't even seem to realize it because he, and I say this respectfully, doesn't seem educated about it and doesn't seem curious to learn more about it. He just likes to provoke. That's a troll.
Well, I think there's one thing to be a provocateur. There's something very different to go to your millions of followers and spew Jewish hate. Like, if that would have been a situation like we talk about the fact that you're Jewish, I'm a black woman, you talk about Black Lives Matter all the time.
Right.
Who am I to sit here and be like, oh, well, that's just Kanye being Kanye? Like, that ain't okay.
Exactly.
Like, when we talk about allyship is so important because it's the idea of strength in numbers. No single group is really equipped to fight hate and terroristic threats alone unless other groups step in and say, not on our watch.
Love that.
And that goes for everyone. So the idea that we can even have a mental health conversation, do we believe that Kanye West is suffering from mental health issues? Honestly, at this point, I hope so.
I know.
Like, I know that sounds crazy.
I know it.
But I hope so.
I know it.
Like, I hope there's a reason that he is doing what he's doing and that there is actual help for this person.
Right.
However, it's kind of like when someone is suffering an episode or suffering from some kind of grief and then they weaponize it against everyone else. It's okay to have mental health issues. It's not okay to incite violence against any group of people.
Especially when there was a real threat to that people.
Exactly.
Only, not that long ago. Do you think he should be kicked off, Jeff?
Yeah, I do.
You do.
I try to take the other side on a lot of topics, and I always take Kanye. I try to always take Kanye and see where he's coming from. It's to the point where it's like enough. It's enough already. Like, if it is mental health, get some help. Someone needs to reach out and help him. You know what I mean? It's to the point that we're talking about him daily with things that I can't even comprehend
I know.
what that means other than it's hate.
Right.
That, it just equals hate.
Did you declare war on us? Like, what was
It's
that?
very strange, but I will say this, that I'm not trying to make sense out of nonsense, but when it comes to a common thread or commonality between black people and Jewish people and Japanese people, we talked about, I grew up going to Seder dinners, and it was always about the common thread between our histories and the oppression of the
oppressed and the oppressors.
Exactly. So I think that there is a commonality there, but that ain't it.
No, it's not. Let us know what you think about Kanye. I'd love to hear from you.
You know what brings people together?
What? What?
Keep going.
Coming up on DBL. Oh! She's the best. I was like, is there cake?
I was trying to just get a little happy
I was
point
hoping
there.
there was cake. What's he saying about continuing to honor his friend Bob Saget and the Great British Bake Off? I watched it. It's facing a lot of backlash. Did they appropriate Mexican culture? We're talking about it next.
Closed captioning.
I'm easily tickled, y'all. It doesn't take much.
I'm gonna sit here and be
Okay,
right.
I know y'all gonna be mad at me, but I'm just telling you the truth.
You can smirk all you want. You don't have to tell me to go.
Brad Pitt on the building. First of all, hi everyone. How are you doing? Let's take a second to say, how are you doing? It's World Mental Health Day. Take a moment and ask yourself, how are you doing? Just wrote in and saying, it's too many celebrities, obvious about Kanye, get a pass on their wacky, dysfunctional behavior because they are celebrities. Yeah, and their platform's big and it reaches that many more people.
Well, now he's kicked off those platforms. So
Do you think he'll be permanently banned?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I feel like, I don't know about that.
But there's a lot of people that got banned, so I'm glad they're keeping it equal in some sense. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So it's like,
That was good.
yeah.
I felt good about that too. I will be honest with you, Elon Musk, if you guys haven't seen the news, is being forced to kind of buy Twitter for $44 billion, even though he backed out. Elon Musk, if you don't know, is a free speech fanatic. So I wonder if he will change the rules from Jack Dorsey on Twitter to not banning anyone.
But there's a difference between, in my mind, there's a difference between free speech and saying what you want, which I'm all for, and hate speech.
Very
That's
well
different.
said.
So you can't use hate speech in free speech, right? You want to say well, you could say whatever you want. No, you can't. That's not free speech. Free speech is making a point, a generality, like this is what's happening with me and this is how I feel. If you bring hate into it, that's not free speech.
I hear that.
At least in my mind.
No, the law hears it differently. Literally, it's scrutinized in a completely different way. I think Elon Musk believes even hate speech should be free speech. I certainly don't. And I don't think the Twitter board handlers do either. Is anyone understanding also the DEF CON 3? Did anyone get that? I don't know,
Yeah, it's like
some prepared war strategy.
yeah.
That's what it makes me think of.
Welcome back. This is my favorite show of all time, the Netflix show, The Great British Bake Off. If you've never seen it, it's lovely, but it's being accused of some major cultural appropriation over its Mexican Week episode. First, the show actually tweeted these memes featuring the two hosts in sombreros and ponchos. It said, quote, "I don't think we should make Mexican jokes because people will get upset." The other host says, quote, "Not even Juan," not even one. During the actual, does everyone get the joke?
Yeah, like one joke.
Like one joke, right.
Yes.
During the actual show, the hosts were also seen shaking maracas and mispronouncing words like guacamole and tortilla. Some Mexican Americans were not impressed. One man tweeted, "I'm so incensed that they don't realize how vile and racist this crap is." However, another woman tweeted that Mexican Americans have more things to worry about, like racism in the real world, not a silly TV show.
All right, I'll kick it off. Listen, I think there's a way you could do this without being cultural inappropriation, right? If you do it, if you're embracing the culture and someone there is Mexican and you're celebrating and they're speaking about their heritage and you're maybe in their own country or something, doing something like that, I don't think it's offensive. But with the glance that I saw with that, first of all, why would you put that meme up? Why would you put that up? There's not one Mexican person in that picture. Why would you put that up? That was a bad decision on someone
Just
or multiple
optically,
people part. Running around with maracas and things like that. It's like, if you're going to be clever or unique with something, again, it doesn't excuse it. I'm more for it, right? It's like, okay, you were being clever, you did that. Just being blatantly like, I don't know. In 2022, I'm very weary of things I say and do up here, and it's like, I'd be like, whoa. If someone was doing that, I'd be like, maybe we don't film this.
Like,
cut that out. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Erica, do you agree?
Yeah, I think that both of those tweets can be true. At the same time, the fact that we don't need to be appropriating culture, or I don't even know if that's appropriation. Like, it looked more like trying to be funny, like a sad, like I don't get it. But at the same time, yeah, let's not forget what's happening with DACA right now. I think both of those sentiments are totally true. I don't get it. Like, I don't understand. It's like people really just go so out of their way to try to ride a line, and I just don't understand.
I know what you guys mean, and I just wanted to know what you thought about this, because I was watching this guy and he got dressed up, a white dude, in all mariachi outfit, right? And he went over to people and he was doing mariachi, and they were all like, that's really offensive, that's culturally inappropriate, don't do that. And then he went to actual mariachi players, and he was like, is what I'm doing offensive? They're like, no, you look great. And so sometimes I feel like a lot of people get upset who aren't part of the marginalized group. Does that make sense?
100%.
Okay.
100%. Is it Mexican people that are upset, or white suburban
or is
women?
It white, exactly.
I'm just going to say
a bunch of, and I watched the show. They're both comedians. I think they were making a statement on how silly it has to be about not making jokes. It probably did optically cross a line.
And I get that. You know what I mean? I'm all for, like, everything's not offensive to everybody, but that's to the person you're offending, right? If I bring everything, I bring it back to Italian culture, right? Because I'm Italian, you could speak on that. Sebastian Maniscalco is hilarious because he makes fun of the culture that I grew up in. It's hilarious, and for other people to see that, it's hilarious. Right? I can only speak on that. I'm only half Italian, so maybe I shouldn't even be talking, right? So it's like, but there's room for comedy, and there's room that are just, it's like, it's insulting. You know what I mean? I don't know if that was so insulting.
If it's stated or not.
But it's like, we're getting to a point where it's great. We got to rap. Shut your mouth. I'm Italian. I talk with my hands. It's too long.
We'll be right back. That was good. That was really good.
What if you could...
Protesters flocked through the streets around the world in outrage after Mahsa Amini, a 22-year-old Iranian woman, died after being arrested by the country's morality police for allegedly not adhering to Iran's strict Islamic dress code. After Amini's death, some people on social media shared this video of a man dancing as a casket is carried behind him. The post, with more than 500,000 views, claims to show a grieving father from Iran who promised to dance at his daughter's wedding, dancing instead at her funeral after she was killed by the country's morality police for not covering her hair. But is that what is actually happening in this video? Let's verify. Our sources are footage from an Azerbaijani TV show and TinEye, a reverse image search tool. This video does not show an Iranian father dancing at his daughter's funeral. It's actually a clip from a TV show. Using TinEye, Verify traced the viral clip to a TV series about family conflict from Azerbaijan. The man in the tweet is an actor on the show and not a mourning Iranian father. And the viral clip, well, it's actually an edited video from episode 78, posted to YouTube in 2018 by an Azerbaijani TV network. Let's put those videos side by side. It's clear that they're the same video. The only difference is the music track. Take a listen. So we can verify, no. A viral video does not show an Iranian father dancing at his daughter's funeral. With your Verify, I'm Ariane Till.
Welcome back. We know him as Uncle Jesse from Full House, and now he is the basketball coach in the Disney Plus show Big Shot. Earlier, the cutie John Stamos told us all about season 2 and how actually Bob Saget inspired a scene in the show. Check it out. John Stamos, everybody. Welcome back to DBL.
Yes.
We love you.
Thank you very much.
Before we get to your show, Big Shot, I have to mention this because I thought it was really touching. Candace Cameron Bure recently joined you on stage for a Bob Saget tribute during a Beach Boys concert. What were the emotions like having her on stage with you during that tribute? I can't even imagine.
You know, I've been doing a lot of you know, honoring Bob everywhere I go. I was at D23 and stuff. And the Beach Boys were kind enough to, and they loved Bob. You know, we were all part of our family. It was to look down, and I don't mean to sound corny, but I felt like I was looking at DJ. She was getting emotional watching the whole thing. It's a nice moment. I will just forever, honor that man. He was bigger than life. He was such a beautiful guy.
He inspired something, and you can just explain it, what happens in season 2 of Big Shot.
The outpouring of love for Bob was incredible. I'm sure you guys saw it. It was a tsunami of love. But the heartbreak for me was that he didn't know it. He didn't know how loved he was. And I wanted to kind of examine that with our show. We do the last episode where a friend of Marvin's passes away. He's a coach, and he gets all this love and attention. And Marvin goes, "What's my legacy? What am I leaving? Am I living my best life right now?" And the girls get a chance to tell him while he's alive. Bob obviously wasn't. So the girls say that you have changed my life, our lives, and you've made us better, and we're better because of you. So there's Bob in the show. Now, if we're real quiet, we can hear him complaining that I don't talk about him enough.
We heard that you came up with the show name, so we've got to know what has been your big shot in life.
Ooh.
My big shot is being a dad. It's something that I've always wanted to be. I love family, and I've been around kids my whole life, and it's a lot. To be a good parent takes so much, and I'm up for the challenge, and I'm grateful that it happened to me. But I think that's probably my big shot in life.
Yeah, it's everything, and I think for a lot of guys, you have all these things, all these goals that you want, and sometimes you reach them, sometimes you don't. But at the end of the day, when you have kids, you're like, oh, this is what this is all about. Everything else is kind of just stuff on the table. It's not really a thing.
Exactly. And it's the moments, the little micro transactions during the day, especially with him, that mean the most. It's not about I accomplished this, I got this show, I did this. It's about those little important exchanges. Last night, he came home from Disneyland. I wasn't there. And I was he was asleep. I carried him to the thing. And I had so much to do today. I had to get ready for this, and I had to finish some other work. And I put him in his bed, and he was quiet. And then I'm creeping out. I was, Dad, yes, son, will you read me a bedtime story? Yes. Yeah. I put everything else aside, of course, and I sat there, and it's just beautiful. Those moments are what it's about, I think.
Amen.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, got a son, you got to show Big Shot. And I know you were a band guy. But Big Shot, I want to know what's up with the basketball skills now. Have they improved a little bit since season 1?
Are you better? Are you better baller?
Sam. Wow.
I got
you
worse.
read that off of Twitter.
I'm trying to be cool. Sorry.
Sam.
What's your hoop game like, bro?
I'm not good. No, I'm not. I've gotten worse, I think. I'm not a sports guy. The show it's more fun, but it's also gets deeper and edgier. I play a father, sort of a father who's not been around my daughter much, and so now I have to kind of, learn how to do that. He's a great character because at least he can say he's sorry and he wants to get better.
At the end of each day, I want you all to look in the mirror and ask yourself, did I do my very best today? Everything you guys do in this gym and out affects all of us. Where we're going is anything but normal.
I love it. Everybody thought, oh, this man's coming in and he's going to teach these girls. No way. The girls taught Marvin, and the girls in real life taught John. And I think that's what makes the show special.
I love it. John, thank you so much for joining us here on DBL. To our viewers, season 2 of Big Shot premieres on Disney Plus October 12th. We'll be right back. Thanks, John.
Thank you, DBL.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Promotional.
You will hear the phrase early detection saves lives, and that's because doctors will widely agree taking action quickly can make a huge difference in breast cancer treatment and outcomes. So what is the guidance for how to detect it and monitor your breast health? Let's verify. Our sources are several sets of guidelines, and breast oncologist Dr. Claudine Isaacs, who points out
there are different guidelines from different groups.
A screening is checking for a disease before any signs or symptoms. For breast cancer, that typically means mammograms and physical exams. Those leading breast cancer organizations may recommend mammograms beginning at 40, 45, 50. Some will say annually, others say every other year. Those at highest risk might be encouraged to get a mammogram even earlier. Age, family history, ancestry, inherited gene mutations, personal health history, and lifestyle all could factor into how early, how often, and what type of screenings should happen. The National Comprehensive Cancer Network does recommend people have a breast cancer risk assessment by age 25.
What we're really trying to do is to figure out how to get more personalized at this.
Along with regular well-woman visits with a healthcare provider, the advice has long been to conduct monthly breast self-exams. Now, guidance on that is divided. Dr. Isaacs says it's most important to recognize lumps, bumps, changes in texture, or pain.
What is important is that people know what their breasts feel like. And if they notice something, that they go and they have it checked out.
She adds the best guidance for you will come from the healthcare providers who know you best.
Those are conversations that have to happen on a regular basis. The great thing about medicine is that our knowledge keeps on evolving and our guidelines change as a result. So because you had that discussion 10 years ago doesn't mean that it still applies to today.
Having updated conversations is especially important if you miss doctor's appointments during the pandemic. And the reason there's disagreement over how often mammograms should occur is because they can have false positives, which can be stressful for people or actually lead them to not seek future care. So even that is something involving some personal assessment and a conversation with your healthcare provider. With your Verify, I'm Abby Larico.
The push to honor Native Americans instead of Christopher Columbus is gaining momentum. Let's connect the dots. President Biden just became the first president to recognize Indigenous Peoples Day. He signed a proclamation saying it will not replace Columbus Day, but will be celebrated on the same date. Meanwhile, many places have stopped celebrating Columbus Day altogether, including North Carolina. Governor Cooper recognized Indigenous Peoples Day back in 2018, signing the proclamation in honor of the 8 historic tribes that call our state home. It's part of a nationwide push to refocus the holiday. Instead of celebrating Christopher Columbus, advocates argue we should instead honor the Native communities devastated by colonialism. After the explorers' arrival, millions of people were killed and forced to leave their land. The violence led to widespread economic and cultural losses that Native Americans are still dealing with today. But several states are still holding on to Columbus Day. Some Italian Americans consider the day a nod to their own heritage. For now, both holidays will exist side by side. And that is Connecting the Dots.
Welcome back. It was an emotional reunion for 2 Back to the Future stars. Did you guys see this? Oh my gosh. Marty McFly and Doc Brown reunited on stage at Comic-Con in New York. Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd greeted each other with just a huge hug, and at one point, Michael J. leaned into his former co-star during the chat. The two recalled the moment the first met, which was back on set in 1985. Michael J. Fox was called in to replace Eric Stoltz a few weeks into filming. I think they had almost filmed every scene with him and replaced him with Michael, and everything clicked. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah, cool reunion. I like to see that.
Me too. Yeah. Doc and Marty, amazing. DBL's New Every Day. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Fight for yourself, guys. Bye.